Hi, boys. All right, so you graduated. Congratulations, you did it. Awesome. Um, Look, I have it. I got it. Um, so I guess I'm just gonna read a chapter today to commemorate your graduation, and then we could do like a chapter every week, or I don't know, maybe twice a week. We'll figure it out. Let me know. But listen, if you guys don't participate and you don't comment and let me know stuff, I'm gonna stop. So make comments and I don't know, just read along. So you appreciate it. Last we left off, this dumb hoe. Um, Sister died. Wait, hold on. Her sister died, and I think she said she was happy, but Casey left, I think, and she was with Ryan the dog, and I forgot the guy's name. Jake, Luke, wait, is Jake, and I don't know what else happened. I don't know that actually good things ended up happening, but she was okay. So I don't know. Anyway. Oh no. They went for a run. They went for that 5K thing. Yeah, that's fine. And then I don't know what happened. All right. So let's see. This has how many chapters do we have? We have well, it's 335 pages, but the chapters are not numbered, so that's not cool. All right. I don't know. We have chapters, I guess. Here we go. There was a girl. Her name was Angie. She had fallen out of love. Well, not exactly. Cruel Summer, also the title of a Taylor Swift song. This was the beginning again. Angie bit the end of her thumbnail standing with a JanSport Kitten Rage backpack given to her by Casey Romance, evenly secured on her husky shoulders. So she's still fat. Probably. Husky, right? Chubby. She had walked 3,239 steps from her home in the cul-de-sac of Oak Lawn Ends to William Anders High School, as counted by her father's once relished red pedometer. One of the few relics left behind when he moved out 2 years ago. Actually, hold on. When did this book come out? Like, this is 2021, but the copyright was 2019. So we really got to be more modern now. Nobody uses a pedometer, Angie. Her unexpected walk on the first day of 10th grade after a sad, beautiful, sad, better rerun of freshman year had been marred by the canary yellow, glitter dipped ribbons that were tied to the 4 tree trunks in the front of the high school. A sum total of 573 ribbons adorned the mostly quiet community of Dry Falls, Ohio. What do you want, Chris? You good? Angie did not like the color yellow. Angie's sister had not liked glitter or yellow. Angie cringed at the sight of the ribbons in front of her school. Feeling less the girl with gusto who had earned a coveted spot on the infamous Hornets' Nest varsity basketball squad the year before, and more the loser who'd walked away from it, quitter. Angie stood nervously sweating at her hairline, fearing that there would, in fact, be more lows than highs. Stuffed art. With her with her requited love Casey Romance on the lam since late July, Angie found herself swallowed by doldrums, longing for the intense girl with a hunger greater than the number of waffles served at Waffle House, 800 million and counting. So she really wants her. She wants her more than 800 waffles. That's a lot of wanting. Wow. Lost in a nostalgia often reserved for montages in teen movies, Angie looped Casey's parting words before her reluctant relocation to Texas to reconnect with her not so long lost father. Dude, he's the one that said he never loved you. Baby, sometimes love just ain't enough, Casey had said. With that 1990s throwback song lyric by the legendary Patti Smith featuring Don Henley of the Eagles, Angie's hopes of finally starting sophomore year on the right foot went left. Any hopes of a long distance relationship were dashed because Casey did not believe in long distance relationships, a unilateral decision that confused Angie. Nevertheless, she had watched, weepy eyed, as the only person she thought she could ever love vanished through the long shoulder to shoulder security checkpoint line. Casey had waved tearfully with the one way ticket on Southwest Airlines, flying to Dallas Love Field. Fast forward. Now. Tuesday, not Monday. 4 weeks, 5 days, 8 hours, and 42 minutes since leaving said forever first and likely only love at the airport. Forever first and likely only love at the airport. According to Angie's Casio calculator watch. Angie, who in Casey's absence felt more fact Angie than before. According to the expensive scale, her couldn't understand mother. Ooh, it's not couldn't be bothered mother, it's couldn't understand mother. Connie required her to weigh in on since a recent doctor's visit. Ooh. Angie was, as a matter of fact, heavier by several pounds, though she could not admit the exact number even to herself. Oh, damn. So she's fatter. Angie dipped her head toward the student parking lot with teens leaning on car hoods or in trunk beds, girls flirting, working angles with a slight shift of a hip, a slip of a grin, their confidence vested in their thin waistlines. Nothing to encumber them, nothing to keep them from being normal. It's fine to be, it's normal to be fat, dude. Self-consciously, Angie pulled at her jackalope t-shirt, finally deciding to cover her stomach with her arms. Still waiting for Jake Fetch to pull into the parking lot. Jake, who had promised to pick her up but pulled a no-show. Jake, who had promised to walk in with her because she could not fathom doing it alone. Jake, who had become a series of broken promises since returning from a summer camp job in rural Wisconsin, all the while denying anything was wrong, but something was clearly not right, because Jake was a good boy from a good home with both parents, who were happily married and owned a dog that liked his name. Jake is a golden retriever. Mhm. The dog's name was Ryan. Even if Jake and Angie seemed like the most unlikely of friends because of his acceptance into popular social circles, he had shown up for her when she needed him the most, until his recent foray into breaking promises, anyway. The first bell rang. Staring at the throng of students pouring into the high school, Angie knew not a one of them could know the primitive nature of her gentle, pudgy psyche. Her chin was up, though it still doubled. Her heart was beating, though it was broken. Her dreams were big, though she could not really remember them. She was in Fat Angie terms alone. Truly, deeply, painfully alone. This was not fun. In no way whatsoever any kind of fun. And finally getting a sophomore year when she should have been a junior was supposed to be fun-ish. Angie let out an audible sigh as a bizarre Celtic Tejano music mashup wedged its wacky way into her gray matter. It was not the soundtrack first days of school were made of. Nonetheless, there it was, in stereo in her mind, louder and annoyingly louder, and she suddenly felt a most definite urge to pee when someone shoved her from behind. She lost her balance and fell to her knees hard. That's in capital letters. Watch it, Dyke, Gary Klein said. Gary, dude. He was a senior who read at a seventh grade level. That's actually better than some of our seniors. Gotcha. He was, he was very good at the sport of football. He often smelled like raw onions and root beer, IBC root beer to be specific. I don't know what that is. He disliked Angie immensely. I think he, I think he doesn't like her because she tried to kill herself in front of his like speech or something at a pep rally. I think. Yeah. Gary's crew of friends laughed, pointing down at Angie. All but one, Darius A. Clark, the most unlikely person to hang out with someone like Gary Klein. While a football player, he did not fit the moronic ensemble Gary currently surrounded himself with. A collection of boot wearing, multi sport jocks who were mostly white, mostly monosyllabic, mostly on the path towards a future of sexual harassment. That's rough. Um, I lost myself. More sexual harassment. There it is. Darius did not look or act like them. He did not wear boots and had said very little in Angie's elective film history class the previous year, though she wondered if she would have said very much had the teacher constantly asked her about every fat and or gay character after watching films the way he had asked Darius about every black or Mexican American. Surely that was uncomfortable to be singled out that way. Oh, so he's a minority. Okay, so that's he's gonna be friends with her because she's a minority. She's fat and gay. Your sister's dead. Hey, fat ass, Gary said. You feel like squealing for us? Gary reached for Angie's belly. Oh my god, bro. She scrambled to her feet, her eyes darted around. There were students watching from nearby, pausing before going into the building. They were not unfamiliar looks for Angie, the whale down or wacko fatso look. The look only a girl who had a very public, nervous breakdown during a high school pep rally could contract. Bro, you gotta get over that. You really do. Leave me alone, Gary, Angie said. Gary's grin, something was different. His meanness had mutated into something distinctly darker since the end of the previous school year. Gary's a freaking psychopath. There was a raw hunger in his eyes. His sneer was more informed by hate rather than just ignorance. Gary was no longer the obnoxious jockhead simply posturing for the masses. His dislike for Angie had, in essence, evolved. Leave it alone, man, Darius said. Come on, I don't want to be late. Gary did not like being checked by Darius, as could be ascertained from his disapproving reaction, but it tempered his focus on Angie. Stay out of my way, fat ass, Gary said to her. Angie kept her eyes on Gary as he walked away. Her head dropped, her anxiety ticked higher. Angie's mind flooded with a seemingly real fear that it would truly be a rerun of last year, her second freshman year. Before Casey had come on the scene, Angie did not deal well with this level of anxiety of breathe, she thought. It was an obvious, not obvious, therapeutic technique suggested by her new woo woo therapist. When you feel your thoughts racing, try and slow them down. Breathe in through the nose, out through your mouth, slowly. After several deep breaths, Angie repositioned her lopsided backpack, a pang pushing along the center of her diaphragm. What she privately referred to as the hole was aching. It was also on her list of dislikes, the hole that had made itself known on July 4th when she and it stops right there. The warning bell rang. She waited, hoping that Jake's retro Datsun 280Z would whip into the student parking lot. It did not. So, regardless of her reluctance to enter the building alone, it was now or tardy. And calling attention to herself in any way whatsoever was the last thing Angie needed on the first day of school. It had to be different this year. No pep rally suicide attempts. Sorry. No pep rally suicide attempts. No freakouts, no anything that would make her more of a pariah than she had been to her classmates. With her couldn't understand mother, especially with her couldn't understand mother. What happened to Wang? Deep breath, bigger deep breath. Angie entered the double doors of the school, keeping her arms pressed close to her body, trying to make herself as small as possible given her girth. Her heart raced. Her eyes looked down. I'm sorry, that was funny, Chris. I'm so sorry. This was her worst nightmare, having to walk the halls alone without Casey or Jake, just her, fat Angie. She could not do another year of being that to all of them. But what would she do should it turn out to be a recycled sequel of her rerun freshman year? Angie did not like sequels. By their very nature, they rarely met the expectations of the consumer. Failed squeals. No, sorry, failed sequels. Jaws 2, Troll 2, Free Willy 2, The Karate Kid Part 2, Weekend at Bernie's 2, The Never Ending Story 2. Angie was deep in the mental listing of failed sequels when the unthinkable became thinkable. Stop the mixtape! Holy spicy guacamole from Betty's Muy Mexican Casa? There she walked. She was not new to William Anders High School, but somehow, after a summer semester of study abroad, the she who walked had been retrofitted, remade in the image of a teenage boy's dateable, kissable, undeniable. Hey, Angie. Jamboree Memphis Jordan. What names are these, dude? Named after the 1992 RV and city she was conceived in, Jamboree Memphis Jordan parted the mass of students all red and see with her stride. A paisley print binder at her side, a purse slung over her shoulder, her otherwise ginger mane reshaped into layers whose sheen flowing sunset ombre would not be flattened by the fluorescent lights. The electricity of her movement could not be tamed. She's a redhead. What? You're gross. Fat Angie's pulse on the engine that was hormonal drive cranked. Oh, okay. Jeez. Jamboree's voice had sounded like toffee. Her lip gloss glistened naughty. What does that mean? 2 grade levels apart, and the mystery of Jamboree ghosting Angie 3 years earlier had solidified a distance that it seemed would never be crossed, a wound that had never healed for Angie, a hurt Angie had learned mostly not to think about, but in a single phrase. Hey, Angie, a much thinner, trendier Jamboree had been officially reintroduced into Angie's world, and apparently everyone else's at William Anders High School because heads were turning. Jamboree had transformed from book band model UN nerd with an affection for fashion invisibility into the creative revolution that was rockstar stepping boho meets grunge down the crowded hallway. Her effortless stride had lathered an otherwise typical morning. Fat Angie quickly tallied the lib- libidinous looks from guys that followed Jamboree's more slender curves. Her strut. The guys were checking her out. She was tall. She was vivacious. She tripped and ate floor in the worst possible way. Wait, did Fat Angie didn't do it? Did Jamboree tripped? Oh. Epic cool entrance evolved into epic fail in front of the junior lockers. Fat Angie witnessed the immediate awkward that surfaced on guys' faces. Girls giggled. Giggling girls made Angie's blood in cliche boil. But then it stopped. It really, truly stopped. No pomp, no gossip circumstance. That never would have happened to Angie. Her folly would have been the fodder for a story that leached the lunchtime chatter for weeks. Was there a get out of taunting card for girls who lost weight and dressed sexy? Because Jamboree Memphis Jordan had eaten wax and stood to walk another day. Maybe things would be different at William Anders High School this year. Maybe Fat Angie could be just Angie, even without KC. That's it. That's the first chapter. So I will try. Oh, the second chapter is really long. I will try to post the second one. Probably on Tuesday. Daycare days are Tuesdays and Thursdays, so yeah. Yeah, probably this Tuesday coming up, I'll post one. But I won't post unless you comment and, do stuff. Bye. Again, really proud of you guys. Bye.